to somehow figure out a way to live through that. All right, let's do a quick annotation of this. Obviously, at level 1, you can reduce this whole poem down to a single line. Do it the best way you can. Reduce this poem down to a single line. I once had him, but now I don't have him, and I hope that he rots for the way he treated me. It's a simple, couple of lines. Jot down at 2A at least one message that you derive from this poem. Is the message from this poem, love stinks? Or is the message from this poem, love is the most amazing thing until you don't have it? Which doesn't mean love stinks. The loss of love is what stinks. Of course, we'll ask all kinds of questions at level 2 about this issue of love. But let's go ahead and ask this question at level 2A. Is love the most powerful force humans ever experience? Or rather, is the loss of love the most powerful emotional experience one ever has to deal with? And why is loss of love even worse than maybe death itself? Why is it so profound? Let's think about 2B really quickly. This is, of course, a powerful poem. Notice it is a statement, almost like what we'll call later a dramatic monologue, like a soliloquy from a Shakespeare play. You have a single woman saying, I'm all alone, and he blew me up. Later, when you study Ophelia, you'll maybe wonder, how is Ophelia feeling when Hamlet is sent off to England and maybe will never return to Denmark, and she's all alone, and her father has died, and her brother is away in college in Paris, and she's totally alone, and there's some rendering in the play Hamlet that maybe even she's pregnant with Hamlet's child, and Hamlet's left her. She's completely alone, all alone, as she goes out to pick her daisies and her flowers next to the water's edge. And then we're told when she falls in, she doesn't fight to save her life, but rather lays back to die. That is to say, the saddest, the most powerful emotional experiences presented in poetry. Let's ask this question at 2B. Why is poetry so often what is used when lovers have their hearts broken? It's a strange question. I've had students that say, dude, I hate to write. I loathe it. And then all of a sudden they get in a relationship and it blows up, and the first thing they want to do is to sit down and write something. Now, how do you explain that fact? How do you explain that fact? They say, I hate to write, but the minute that their relationship blows up, they want to sit down, they want to write something. Those words can either be sometimes really angry words, they can sometimes be really sad words. Notice here, she ends her poem by saying, I hope he has terrible life. Not a good life, not a happy life, a terrible life. That's what he deserves. Whoa. Finally, jot down at 3A, what is your favorite breakup movie? Now, that's a loaded question because we can ask it from multiple perspectives. One way to say this is, what's your favorite movie where a breakup happens in the film? Okay. Another way to ask this question is, if you've gone through a terrible breakup, what is the movie that you relied on to get you through it? Is there a film you watched over and over and over to kind of help you get through the experience of the breakup? And why did you choose that movie? Or that song? Or, can we say it out loud? One of my students once said it that way. I was really in love with the girl. She blew me up. And the only way I got through that was to just play intense amounts of one video game that I played over and over again. And looking back on it, I realized that experience of playing that game somehow got me through the experience of my broken heart. What is for you the best movie about a guy and a girl going through the breakup and then it working out? What is your favorite video or song or movie about a girl who gets a guy back for breaking up with her and doing nasties to her? Do you have your favorite one of this? Right? Of course, 3B, the questions abound. Let's just ask a few and you can jot them down. If a girl totally trusts a guy and the guy uses her and then breaks up with her and runs off, does the girl have the right to do something nasty back to him? Does she have the right, for example, to do something really wicked mean to his vehicle? For example, does she have the right, for example, to say mean things about him because He blew her up. He wasn't nice to her. He in some way used her. At Worland High School, second question. At Worland High School, who does more of this breaking up? Who does more of this leaving? Is it the guy leaving the girl, or is it the girl leaving the guy at Worland High School? And what have you noticed in your senior experience up to this point? What have you noticed as you kind of studied relationships? Question 3. Do you think it's a good idea in high school to fall in love? I've had seniors who will say, not going to do it, don't allow myself to do it, and here's why. I'm looking at it right here in this poem. This is why I will not fall in love in high school. Because a girl's heart, too vulnerable. Or guys will say, a guy's heart, too vulnerable. And because that's the case, all kinds of terrible energy can be created in the breakup. I'm not going to put myself in that kind of circumstance at all. Of course, what usually happens 2 days after someone says that out loud, right, they meet the person that's the perfect person. And now, no, it's all going to be fine. They tell their friends, this time I know what I'm doing. I'm not going to be an idiot. He's totally the right guy. She's totally the perfect girl. Then back to the poem we come to read again. Why? Which begs a really interesting final question. Do you think, two-part question, do you think she'll ever get over this situation? Do you think she'll ever come to a point where she can say, you know what, I was in love with him, I only want the best for him, I hope that he finds love somewhere else? Do you think she'll ever get there? Or are you more inclined to think she's going to carry this kind of anger and rage all the way to the end? She is not going to ever get over this guy. Of course, the second part, and I've had seniors that point this out, you know, the most interesting character in this poem is not her. The most interesting character in the poem is her guy, her Lord, the guy that blew her up. Do you think he'll ever get over her? No matter how much he smiles, no matter how much he seems to get along happy in his life, do you think the experience of leaving the one you love is something a guy can ever get over, or a girl can ever get over? Is it something you can move beyond and get past? Well, there you go. An introduction to The Wife's Lament from the Exeter book. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.